Today, we are going to cover the basics of punctuation. We'll discuss the most common punctuation marks, what they are called, and how to use them. Let's get started. Well, starting with the full stop, which is also known as period. It is the most common punctuation mark in English. It is used to indicate the end of a sentence, and it is important to use it correctly to ensure that your writing is clear and easy to understand. Let's discuss the uses of full stops with some examples. A full stop is used at the end of a sentence, that is, a statement, a command, or an order. For example, I'm going to a store. Please be quiet. Stop running. Here, we can see full stops at the end of the sentences. A sentence can also be long and complex, as in, despite facing numerous obstacles and relentless opposition, the resilient team of determined individuals triumphed against all odds and achieved their long awaited victory. In the sentence, the full stop is appropriately placed at the end to mark the completion of the sentence. This punctuation helps signal that the thought expressed in the sentence has come to a conclusion. In addition, a full stop is employed when a sentence concludes with an indirect question, which refers to a question embodied within a sentence and does not require a question mark. For example, he asked me if I wanted to go to the party. He asked me if I could speak English well. Here, both the indirect sentences conclude with full stop. Full stops are also used in abbreviations to indicate that the end of the abbreviation has been reached. However, not all abbreviations take full stops. There are three main types of abbreviations, starting with acronyms. These are abbreviations formed from the initial letters of a phrase but pronounced as words and do not take full stops. For example, the acronym NATO is pronounced as a word NATO and does not take a full stop. Let's have some more examples. NASA, ISRO, UNESCO, and so on. Initialism. These are abbreviations that are pronounced as individual letters. They are usually written in uppercase letters and do not include periods or full stops, as in FBI, CIA, RBI, and so on. Note that it is common to pronounce each letter separately rather than trying to form a word out of the letters as in the case of an acronym. Contractions. These are abbreviations that are formed by removing some letters in a word or by combining two or more words. They are typically written with a full stop after the last letter. For example, Mr., Doctor, AM, PM, and so on. Mr. is formed from the word Mr. The contraction doctor is formed from the word doctor. The abbreviation AM and PM are formed by combining the first two letters of the words antemeridian and postmeridian, which mean before noon and after noon, respectively. However, they can also be used without full stops. But make sure when you are writing AM and PM without full stop, they should be uppercase letters. Question mark. It is used to indicate a question or to express doubt. For example, where are you going? Are you sure that's the right way to do it? I wonder what time is it? The question mark is an important punctuation mark that helps convey meaning and tone in written communication. By understanding its proper uses, you can ensure that your writing is clear, concise, and effective. A comma is a punctuation mark used to separate words, phrases, or clauses in a sentence. It is a simple but powerful tool that can help clarify meaning and improve the readability of your writing. Let's look at some examples. I need to buy apples, bananas, and oranges. She went to store, but she forgot her wallet. After the game, we went out to eat. It is important to note that a comma should not be used before a coordinating conjunction such as and, or but if the clauses are not independent, as in this sentence. But wait, we've used comma before the words and but here in these sentences. Why is it so? Here I make you clear that here the objects are independent of each other, but here in this case both the clauses in the sentence are not independent. This is the reason we do not use a comma before the word but. Moreover, we use commas to add non-essential information to a sentence. For example, the cat, which was very old, died last week. There is a bench in the park where people often sit and relax. Here, the phrases which was very old and where people often sit and relax are non-essential because they do not change the meaning of the sentence. The sentences would still make the same sense if the phrases were removed. The commas before and after the phrases tell the reader that the phrases are non-essential and can be removed. A colon is a punctuation mark that is made up of two dots placed vertically. Colons can be used in a variety of ways, but they are commonly used to introduce a list. For example, the grocery list, milk, eggs, bread, butter, and cheese. Colons can also be used to introduce a quotation. For example, the doctor said you need to eat more fruits and vegetables. Here, in place of the colon, we can use a comma as well. Colons can also be used to connect two independent clauses. For example, I went to the store to buy some milk. In this sentence, the colon is used to connect the two independent clauses I went to the store and to buy some milk. The second clause explains the reason why the speaker went to the store. But yes, this sentence can also be written without the colon. It is important to note that colons should not be used too often. If you use them too frequently, your writing will become difficult to read. However, when used correctly, colons can be a powerful tool for clarifying and organizing your thoughts. Semicolon is a punctuation mark which is used to separate independent clauses in a sentence. It has a stronger pause than a comma, but not as strong as a period. Semicolon serves two main purposes. to join related independent clauses, and to separate items in a list when the items themselves contain commas. For example, I have a meeting in the morning. I need to prepare the presentation. She is studying medicine. Her brother is pursuing engineering. Remember that the clauses on both the sides of the semicolon must be independent clauses, which means they can stand alone as separate sentences. Let's look at the other uses. We visited several countries on our vacation. France, with its delicious cuisine, Italy, famous for its art, Spain, known for its vibrant culture, and Greece, home to ancient ruins. The use of semicolons in this context enables a presentation of the list that is both clearer and more organized, particularly when there are commas within the individual items. Some additional points to remember about semicolons. It should not be used to connect a main clause to a subordinate clause. In such cases, a comma or a conjunction should be used instead. For example, although it was raining heavily, semicolon, I decided to go for a walk. In this example, the semicolon is improperly used to connect the dependent clause although it was raining heavily to the independent clause I decided to go for a walk. A semicolon should not be used in this case because the dependent clause relies on the independent clause and cannot stand alone as a complete sentence. To correct this, a comma or a conjunction should be used. Although it was raining, comma, I decided to go for a walk. Semicolons should not be used before coordinating conjunctions. In these cases, a comma is sufficient, as in, I went to the store and bought some groceries. In this example, the semicolon is used incorrectly before the coordinating conjunction and. Semicolons should not be used in this way. Instead, a comma is appropriate. Here, the comma correctly separates two independent clauses I went to the store and bought some groceries, which are connected by the coordinating conjunction and. But we should not forget that there are certain linking words which may take semicolons. For example, I finished my homework, however, I still had to do the dishes. The weather was beautiful. Moreover, the birds were singing. I went to the store. Therefore, I bought some groceries. Transitional phrases such as I finished my homework. For example, I did all the math problems. The weather was beautiful. In other words, it was a perfect day to go for a walk. I went to the store. On the other hand, I didn't buy anything. The apostrophe is a punctuation mark that has multiple functions, and this is what makes using an apostrophe more challenging. One of its most common uses is to form contractions, which are shortened forms of words or phrases. For example, can't, it's, and so on. It is also used to show possession, which means that something belongs to someone or something. For example, the cat's tail is long, shows that the tail belongs to the cat. We can even connect more than one noun in this way. For example, my father's sister's husband's brother. Here it shows that the brother belongs to the husband of the sister of the speaker's father. apostrophe with a word that ends with an s. In this context, we have two rules: singular possessive and plural possessive. When indicating ownership or possession with a singular word that ends with the letter s, the apostrophe is placed after the word and followed by an s. For example, the bus's engine was loud. Here, the singular noun bus ends with the letter s and the apostrophe s is used to indicate that the engine belongs to the bus. On the other hand, when indicating ownership or possession with a plural word that ends with an s, the apostrophe is placed after the existing letter s without adding another s. For example, the students' backpacks were scattered. Here, the apostrophe is used after the plural noun students to show that the backpacks belong to the students. I'm giving some more examples. Please have a look at them. Finally, we don't use apostrophe when we write plural nouns. For example, the plural of cat is cats. We would not write cat apostrophe s to indicate that there are more than one cat. Instead, we would write cats. Yes, I know you would say, we know it, right? Well, there is an exception to this rule. The only exception that we have to this rule is when a plural noun is made up of letters or numbers. In these cases, we use an apostrophe to prevent confusion. For example, the plural of letter A is A apostrophe S. This is because the letter A could be misread as the word as if there were no apostrophe. Here are some more examples of plural and nouns made up of letters or numbers that use apostrophe. A hyphen is a short horizontal line used to connect words or parts of words. The primary purpose of a hyphen is to link words together to form compound words or to join word parts to create a single word or phrase. Compound words are formed by combining two or more words. Some examples include self-esteem, mother-in-law, well-known, and so on. Hyphens are used with certain prefixes and suffixes to join them to the base word. Examples include pre-approval, post-independence, ex-president, and so on. Hyphens are also used when multiple words work together as a single adjective modifying a noun. Examples: a high-pitched sound, a 5-year-old child, a well-written article, and so on. Hyphens are used to indicate ranges of numbers or dates. Examples: pages 10 to 15, 1990 to 95, Monday to Friday. Quotation marks, also known as inverted commas, are used to indicate direct quotations, which are exact words spoken or written by someone else. When quoting someone, it is important to use the correct punctuation and to identify the speaker. For example, the student said, "I'm not sure I understand." The teacher replied, "It is quite simple." They are also used to indicate the titles of works such as books, articles, songs, poems, and TV shows. For example, the poem The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost, the movie The Shawshank Redemption. Quotation marks can also be used for other special purposes, such as word used in a special way. The word literally is often used figuratively for nickname, as in my friend's nickname is Peter, and for technical term, as in the term DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. There are two types of quotation marks, single and double. Single quotation marks can be used inside double quotation marks to enclose a quote within a quote. For example, John said, Mary told me I'll be there in 5 minutes. Apart from this, single and double quotation marks serve the same purpose of indicating quotations, and choosing between them is largely a matter of personal preference. However, it is recommended to use double quotation marks when quoting what someone said, as in the sentence, he said, I'm fine. Parentheses, also known as brackets, are punctuation marks that are used to enclose additional or supplementary information in a sentence. They are typically used to provide clarification, explanation, or emphasis, and the information enclosed within parentheses is considered to be less important or secondary to the main message of the sentence. For example, the concert, which was held in a large stadium, was a huge success. Here, the sentence would still make sense without the enclosed material. Parentheses can also be used to provide clarifying or explanatory information that adds context to the sentence. For example, John Smith, the CEO of the company, announced the new project. Parentheses are useful for including tangential or digressive thoughts that are related to the main topic but not directly connected to the sentence structure. For example, I finally finished my work after a long and exhausting day and decided to relax. And with that, we reach the conclusion of the video. It is important to remember that proper punctuation can greatly enhance the comprehension and reception of your writing. So, keep learning and improving your skills. Thank you.